She woke up to the sound of her own sobs echoing in the pre-on chill, staring at the front door that no longer had a key for. It was 3 a.m., and there we were, me, my husband, our two little girls, huddled on the frozen sidewalk, our entire life dumped out like yesterday's trash. The landlord's note taped to the door, vacate immediately, no warnings. How does a home vanish in one cruel night? Let me take you back to the moment it all shattered. I remember the day we first saw the house like it was a dream I didn't deserve. It was late spring, that hopeful kind of warmth in Chicago where the air smells like blooming lilacs and possibility. My name's Lena, and back then, I was 28, fresh off a promotion at the marketing firm downtown, finally pulling in enough to think about roots instead of just surviving. Jamal, my husband, he'd just finished his night classes for that certification, the one he'd been grinding for since our first daughter, Aaliyah, was born 3 years earlier. We were that couple, you know. The ones who met in college, laughed through the broke years, and promised each other we'd build something real. No more crashing on friends' couches or scraping by in that tiny studio where the walls felt like they were closing in. The house was in Inglewood, a quiet block with a chain link fence and a porch swing that creaked just right. It wasn't fancy, peeling white paint, a yard overgrown with weeds, but to us it was everything. $1,200 a month, utilities included. The landlord, Mr. Hargrove, was this older white guy in his 60s, always in a faded polo shirt, with a handshake that lingered a second too long. He showed us around himself, nodding approvingly at how we moved through the space, imagining our lives there. Good family, he said, eyes flicking over Aaliyah clutching her stuffed elephant. You'll take care of it. We signed the lease on the spot, me signing with a flourish because it felt like victory. Our second baby, little Maya, was due in 4 months. This was where we'd bring her home. Those first weeks were magic, the kind you replay in your head when life gets heavy. Jamal and I painted the nursery butter yellow, arguing playfully over whether the crib should go by the window for that morning light. Aaliyah ran circles around the living room, her giggles bouncing off the hardwood floors we'd refinish someday. I'd come home from work exhausted but buzzing, kicking off my heels and collapsing into Jamal's arms on the couch. We'd talk about the future, me climbing the ladder at work, him landing that remote tech job so he could be home more. We're doing it, babe, he'd whisper, his breath warm against my neck. We're building our forever. But there were these little cracks, you feel them before you see them. Hargrove would stop by unannounced, more often than the lease allowed. Just checking the pipes, he'd say, poking around the basement while eyeing the photos we'd hung. Family shots from our wedding, vacations to the lake with my parents. Once he lingered in the kitchen, watching me chop vegetables for dinner. You cook a lot, he asked, and I laughed it off, said yes, it's how I unwind, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. Jamal noticed it too. He's just nosy, he'd say, but I'd catch him double, checking the locks after. Money was tight, sure. My student loans were a noose, and Jamal's part-time gig at the warehouse barely covered the car payment. We were late on rent once, by 5 days, because the AC unit crapped out in July's heat wave, and we had to front $800 for repairs. I called Hargrove, voice shaky, explained we'd pay double next month. He grunted on the phone, said, "Don't let it happen again." We scraped it together, me picking up overtime, Jamal skipping lunches, and handed him the check in person, extra sorries thrown in like apologies could buy grace. He took it without a word, but the next visit, he mentioned standards for his properties. I brushed it aside, told myself it was nothing. We were the model tenants, quiet, no parties, the yard mowed every Saturday. As my belly swelled with Maya, those visits amped up. Hargrove started with the friendly advice, how we should trim the hedges before the neighbors complained, even though no one had. Then it was notes slipped under the door, rent due on the 1st, no exceptions. We'd always paid by the 3rd electronic transfer, and he knew it. Jamal started sleeping lighter, his hand on my hip at night like he was guarding us. I'd lie there, feeling the baby kick, whispering to her that everything was okay. But deep down, that whisper was for me. Loneliness crept in during the quiet hours, the kind that makes you question if you're enough. Was it us? Were we too loud with Aaliyah's bedtime stories? Too black for this block, with our music on low and our braids in the windowsill photos? I confided in my sister over FaceTime one night, her face pixelated from her apartment in Atlanta. "It's probably nothing," she said, but her eyes said different. "Modern life, right? We're supposed to have it all. Careers, kids, homes, without the old ghosts haunting us." But there I was, scrolling job boards at 2 a.m., wondering if we should just pack up and start over. Jamal pulled me close that night, his voice steady. "This is our home, Lena. No one's taking it." I believed him. God, I wanted to. Little did I know, belief wouldn't matter when the locks changed at midnight. It hit like a storm you don't see coming, the kind that rips the roof off without a whisper of wind. October 6th, a Tuesday. Ordinary as they come. I dragged myself through a 10-hour day at the office, bitching a campaign for some skincare line that promised glow from within, while my own skin felt dull from the weight of it all. Aaliyah had preschool that morning. Jamal dropped her off on his way to the warehouse. Maya was kicking up a fuss inside me, like she knew something was brewing. I texted Jamal around noon, "Pick up pizza tonight, girls' night in." His reply, 3 heart emojis and you're on, beautiful. By 6 p.m., we were settled. Pizza boxes open on the coffee table, Aaliyah cross-legged on the rug, sauce smeared on her cheeks as she animatedly told us about her finger-painting masterpiece. Jamal and I shared a slice, our knees touching, laughing about the ridiculous client email I'd gotten. It was one of those moments you file away, the glue holding the cracks together. Bedtime for Aaliyah was 8. Her ritual of 3 stories and a song, me singing that old lullaby my mom used to. Jamal tucked her in and we collapsed on the couch, my head on his chest, his fingers tracing lazy circles on my belly. "Love this," he murmured. "Love us." I closed my eyes, letting the words sink in, pushing away the nagging worry about the rent check we'd mailed last week. On time for once. The first sign was the doorbell, insistent and sharp at 9:15. Jamal groaned, muted the Netflix show we'd started. "Probably the neighbor's cat again," he said, but I felt it, a prickle up my spine. He opened the door, and there was Hargrove, not alone. Flanking him were 2 guys in work boots and hoodies, faces hard, one holding a clipboard like a weapon. No pleasantries. Hargrove's voice cut through the night. Lease violation. Immediate eviction. My heart slammed against my ribs. I waddled to the door, hand on my belly, confusion blurring everything. "What? We paid rent. What's this about?" He didn't look at me, just thrust a paper at Jamal. Yellowed official. Looking, stamped with some city seal. "Pests, infestation reported. Health code breach. You have to go. Now." Pests? We'd had ants once, in August. Tiny sugar. Seekers that we bombed with store. Bought spray and called it done. No complaints, no notices. Jamal's jaw tightened, his voice low but steady. "This is the first we're hearing. You can't just. Give us 24 hours. Call the city, verify." Hargrove's laugh was barked. Dry, no humor. "Already did. Orders signed. My guys here to change the locks. Pack what you can carry. Belongings stay till morning for inspection." It didn't compute. My mind race. Eviction laws, I'd Googled them months ago when money got tight. 30 days notice, court order, not this midnight ambush. This isn't legal. I stammered, phone already in hand, dialing the tenant hotline. The line rang endless, voicemail kicking in about after hours emergencies. The workers moved past Jamal, efficient as machines, one hauling boxes from their truck. Empty, waiting. "Wait," I said, voice cracking. "We're a family. Pregnant. Please." Hargrove's eyes flicked to my belly, then away, like it was an inconvenience. "Rules are rules, ma'am. Can't risk the property." Suspense hung thick as they started, methodical, almost gentle at first. Jamal argued, citing clauses from the lease he'd memorized, but they ignored him, wrapping our couch in plastic, stacking dishes from the drainer into milk crates. Aaliyah stirred upstairs, her cry piercing the chaos. I bolted up, Jamal right behind, scooping her into his arms as she wailed, confused and terrified. "Mama, why boxes?" Her little hands clutched my shirt, and I rocked her, shushing, tears hot on my cheeks. "It's okay, baby, adventure time." Lies, all of it, but what else could I say? Downstairs it escalated. Jamal shoved the paper back at Hargrove. "This is bullshit. Anonymous complaint. Smells like harassment." Because it did. Weeks of those inspections. The way Hargrove's friends would drive by slow staring. We'd heard whispers from the block. Other black families priced out, sudden maintenance of fees, leases voided on technicalities. But us, we were invisible, the good ones. Hargrove's face reddened, voice dropping to a hiss. "Watch your tone, this ain't about that. Bugs don't discriminate." But his eyes did, darting to the photos on the mantel, Jamal's engineering textbooks stacked beside my essential oils, Aaliyah's drawings taped to the fridge. The workers hauled the TV out, our wedding quilt bundled like laundry. I grabbed what I could, diaper bag, Maya's ultrasound pics, Aaliyah's elephant, stuffed into a duffel while rocking her. Jamal faced off, phone recording now, voice rising. "You're trespassing, we'll sue." Hargrove called his bluff. "Try it. See how far that gets you." The air crackled, that moment stretching eternal. Would Jamal swing? Would they call the cops, turn this into something worse? I froze, baby kicking wild inside me, pulse thundering. "Jamal," I whispered, "not here, not with her." By 11 p.m., the house was gutted. Furniture dragged to the lawn under the street lamp's harsh glow. Couch tipped sideways, dining table legs akimbo. Our lives splayed for the neighborhood to gawk. The neighbors' lights flicked on, curtains twitching, but no one came out. Isolation clawed at me, that bone, deep loneliness of being seen but not helped. We bundled into the car, me in the passenger seat, Aaliyah asleep on my lap, Jamal white, knuckling the wheel. No plan, just drive, to his cousin's, a motel with our emergency credit card. The shelter line, I'd prayed I'd never dial. We circled the block first, parked across the street, watching like ghosts. Hargrove's crew finish. Locks clicked new, yellow tape strung across the door like crime scene. He stood there, arms crossed, surveying the mess he'd made. Our mess, Jamal's breath hitched beside me. "This is racial, has to be." I nodded, but doubt wormed in. Were we paranoid, too sensitive, modern dilemmas, right? Gaslighting yourself because calling it out feels like weakness. But the evidence piled like our boxes. No notice, no court, just gone. Midnight came, and we drove, fameless at first, then to the 24-hour Walmart for blankets and snacks, Aaliyah stirring to ask for water. Jamal called his mom in Milwaukee, voice breaking as he explained. Her sobs mirrored mine, promises of wire money in the morning. I scrolled Facebook groups for emergency housing, fingers numb, posting please, evicted unjustly, family of 4, pregnant, Chicago area. Likes trickled in, but help. Crickets, dawn crept in slow, that gray October light turning our belongings spectral on the lawn. Rain started, fat drops splattering the cushions, soaking Maya's bassinet. We pulled up again, me slipping out to cover what I could with trash bags from the car. Hargrove arrived at 7, truck rumbling, towing a dumpster. "City'll handle it," he said, not meeting my eyes. Unclaimed property auctioned. Auctioned, our lives bartered off. I laughed, bitter, hysterical. "That's theft." He shrugged, sign of the times. The suspense peaked there. Would the city intervene? Neighbors finally emerging, one older woman pressing coffee into my hands, whispering, "Happened to the Jacksons last year. Same playbook." Validation, sharp as glass. Jamal filed the complaint online from his phone, evidence uploaded. The video, the fake notice, but bureaucracy's a slow bleed. Hours ticked by, us in the car, Aaliyah asking why we couldn't go home. Soon, Peanut, I'd lie, heart fracturing. By noon, the tow truck came for the couch, workers joking about free upgrade. Our wedding gifts, heirlooms from my grandma gone. Loneliness swallowed me whole, that internal scream, why us? What did we do wrong? Jamal held my hand, silent, his own regret mirroring mine. Should we have moved sooner? Fought harder? The rift widened, not just with Hargrove, but between the dream and this nightmare reality. The days blurred into a haze of survival mode, each one layering on more ache, more questions that clawed at my insides. We crashed at Jamal's cousin's place first, a cramped two-bedroom in Hyde Park where the air smelled like fried onions and unspoken pity. Tanya, his cousin, hugged us tight at the door, her arms fierce around Aaliyah. "Y'all stay as long as you need." But need stretched. 2 weeks turned to 3, the couch. Surfing itch turning to full blown resentment. I felt it in the way Aaliyah clung to me, regressing to thumb, sucking, or how Jamal stared at the ceiling at night, his body rigid beside mine. "This temporary," he'd mutter, but his voice carried the crack of doubt. Psychologically, it unraveled me thread by thread. Mornings, I'd drop Aaliyah at preschool, thank God for subsidies, then head to work, plastering on a smile for meetings while my mind looped the eviction on replay. That note on the door, "Vacate immediately." No signature, just his handwriting I recognized from rent receipts. I'd Google illegal eviction Chicago during lunch. Forums full of stories like ours, black renters targeted, pest, excuses masking bias. One post gutted me, "They wait till you're settled, then strike." Was that Hargrove's game? The unannounced visits, the pointed questions about our plans for the yard, it twisted into paranoia. Every white face on the street a potential judge. Jamal dove into the fight, calling legal aid hotlines till his voice went hoarse. We got a pro bono lawyer, MS Rivera, a no-nonsense Latina in her 40s who reviewed our footage and nodded grim. Retaliatory eviction. Strong case for discrimination. She filed the suit: wrongful eviction, housing violation, emotional distress. Hargrove's response, a countersuit for damages from the supposed infestation, claiming we'd hidden it. Lies, all of it, but it stung like truth. Court date set for December, 2 months out. Hang tight. MS Rivera said. Tight. We were unraveling. The emotional twist came at the ultrasound appointment a week later. I sat in the dim room, gel cold on my belly, Tech smiling as Maya's heartbeat thrummed strong. "Healthy girl," she said. Jamal squeezed my hand, eyes wet, but joy curdled into grief. "This baby, our miracle after a miscarriage last year, arriving to what? A shelter cot? I broke in the car after, sobs racking me. She deserves a home, Jamal, not this." He pulled over, held me as I poured it out. The self, worth cratering, that voice in my head whispering I wasn't cut out for this. Too ambitious, too broke, too black to keep what's mine. He rocked me, his own tears silent. "We're enough. This doesn't define us." But it did in layers. Loneliness amplified in the cousin's house. Nights scrolling Insta, seeing friends' pumpkin patches and cozy fall dinners, while we ate takeout on paper plates. Unspoken wounds festered. Jamal's regret over not confronting Hargrove sooner. My guilt for pushing the house despite the red flags. We'd snap over small things, him forgetting to text when late, me withdrawing into work. One fight escalated, voices low to not wake the house. If you'd listened about the locks, he'd say. If you'd trusted my gut, I'd shoot back. Then silence, apologies in touches, but the rift lingered, a quiet betrayal of the team we'd been. Another layer peeled back when the city inspected our stuff. Due weeks post-eviction, a crew in hazmat suits poking through the rain-soaked pile. Nothing. No pests, no violations. They tagged it abandoned. Auction scheduled. I drove by daily, a masochistic ritual, watching boxes dwindle, our books sold cheap, kitchenware scattered. One afternoon, I spotted my journal, spine cracked, pages fluttering in the wind. Snatched it up, heart pounding, flipping to entries from happier days, grateful for this life, grateful for us. Tears blurred the ink. Jamal found me there, sat on the curb, arm around. We rebuild. But how when self-doubt echoed louder? The confrontation brewed slow, then exploded. Mid-November, MS Rivera subpoenaed Hargrove for a deposition. We sat in her office, wired for nerves, when he shuffled in polo crisp, eyes avoiding ours. "State your reasons for eviction," she pressed. He shifted. "Health hazard, anonymous tip." From whom? Silence. Then it spilled under oath, cornered. He admitted the tip was his own, sparked by a neighbor's concern about noise after Aaliyah's birthday party. Balloons in the yard, laughter spilling over fences, they seemed. Rowdy, he muttered, rowdy, code for us, our joy too loud for the block. Jamal's fist clenched under the table. I felt Maya's kick like a punctuation. Rowdy, Jamal's voice was ice. That party was for our daughter's 4th birthday. We invited the whole street. Hargrove's flush deepened, didn't mean offense. But he did, and MS Rivera pounced, laying out the pattern. 3 other black families evicted in 2 years, all on flimsy pretexts. He denied discrimination, but sweat beaded his brow. Times are tough, he said. Gotta protect my investment. Investment. We were ATM, not people. The pain layered deeper post. Deposition. Driving home, Jamal pulled over again, punching the dash. Bastard looked at me like I was nothing. I nodded, but my twist hit different. Vulnerability crashing over me like a wave. That night, alone in the bathroom, I stared at my reflection, belly round and prominent, whispering, "You're strong, Lena. You've always been." But the mirror lied. I saw the fracture, the woman who'd bet on stability and lost. Internal dialogue raged, fight or fold, demand justice or swallow it for peace. Modern relationships test you like that. Does love weather displacement, or does it fray at the edges? We leaned on therapy next, free sessions through work COP. The counselor, Dr. Ellis, unpacked it gently. Trauma bonds you or breaks you. Talk it out. So we did, weekly, Jamal admitting his fear of failing us, me confessing the loneliness of carrying it all silently. I feel invisible, I'd say, like our pain doesn't count because it's just housing. He'd hold my hand, it counts, we count. Progress, fragile but real, rebuilding trust one tear at a time. Holiday season amplified the ache. Thanksgiving at Tanya's, plates passed with forced smiles, Aaliyah asking Santa for our house back. Christmas, a tree in the corner, gifts wrapped in newspaper. I baked cookies, the scent filling the space, but each bite tasted like ash. News broke then, Hargrove's other properties under investigation, a class action brewing from those evicted families. Hope flickered, maybe restitution a win, but the auction came first, our losses tallied, $8,000 in belongings irreplaceable. The real development, the gut punch twist, landed New Year's Eve. MS Rivera called, settlement offer, $15,000, no admission of fault. Take it, she asked. Jamal and I debated for days, voices raw in the car, Aaliyah in the back oblivious. It's blood money, he said, but it's home money. I countered, thinking of Maya's due date in February. We took it, wired to a new apartment deposits. Smaller, pricier, but ours. Signing the papers, regret burned, justice half. Baked, wounds scabbed not healed. Through it, self-worth battles raged. I'd journal nightly, words spilling. You're not defined by this loss. You're the woman who rose. Jamal started a blog, anonymous, chronicling the fight. Thousands read, comments pouring solidarity. Your story's mine, one wrote. Connection stitched us back, turning personal pain to shared armor. But the unspoken lingered, scars from that night, the way trust fractured. Not just in landlords, but in the system, in each other during the dark. By January, Maya arrived. Tiny, fierce, her cry a battle hymn. In the hospital bed, Jamal kissed my forehead. We made it through. We had, but the development wasn't tidy. It was messy growth. Pain's slow alchemy into resilience. In the end, the twist wasn't vengeance or a viral takedown. Though Hargrove's properties got slapped with fines, his reputation a quiet ruin. No, the real gut twist was the mirror it held up. How fragility hides in the everyday. How one man's bias can unhouse a family's soul. We moved into that new apartment, cozy brick walk-up in Bronzeville, with a window box for herbs and a super who smiles genuine. Maya coos in her crib. Aaliyah draws rainbows on the walls we own the right to paint. Jamal's ID job came through, remote, steady. I got the raise, finally breathing without the debt noose. But closure, it's a myth. Nights still jolt me awake. Phantom rain on forgotten boxes. Regret arcs deep, for trusting too easy, for not screaming louder that first visit. The wound festers soft now. Loneliness a shadow self, worth a work in progress. We talk it out, Jamal and I. Therapy our anchor, turning what if into we did. It's raw, this healing, but real. We're not unbroken, we're bent toward light. If this hits home, the sudden shatter, the fight to reclaim your worth, know you're not alone. Drop a comment. What's your eviction story? Or that time bias blindsided you? Did it break you or build a fiercer you? Hit like if this stirred something. Subscribe for more confessions that cut deep. We're in this sisterhood of scars together. Share with that friend whispering doubts in the dark. Your voice, it echoes. Let's heal loud. What's one step you're taking today? Tell me below. I read everyone.